I believe this means I'm live on an Instagram takeover. Now it's counting away the seconds, although I can't see if any of you are watching it. I haven't got any interaction like I normally have with my Instagram live, so I can't see who's watching or any questions you have, unless they're going to pop up at some point, but I don't think they are because I'm on a very different platform to one I've ever used before. So I'm just going to talk to myself about my morning routine, which actually isn't that different to any other video I make on here. I spend a lot of time talking to myself, and actually when I'm working as well, I talk. I don't know whether people actually listen. So anyway, let's go ahead and hope that you can see me. We are very, very behind time. I was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, so that is extremely disappointing to me, and I hopefully not to you, and I hope we can catch up with things. So let's breathe. Let's pretend we've just woken up. I'm actually going to go out after this. So this is actually a morning routine which actually works perfectly for tonight as well. Anyway, let's get started. I go through different layers of skincare on my morning routine, and I know if you're busy and you've got lots going on and you've got children, I'm not sure what's happening with my little collar here, that is not going to be what you want to hear, but I promise it. They just wipe on so quickly that I don't notice it's happening. But the very first thing I would do is I would get up, I would jump in the shower, I would wash my face. I've had a shower in that before, with absolutely nothing, just water. I don't need to cleanse my face in the morning because I want to keep those oils that have been working on me overnight and soaked into the skin and all my good natural oils there. So I just freshen up my face and take any kind of sleep or anything out of my eyes just with water. And as that is wet on my skin, gently dab with a towel, or maybe not at all. Maybe I'll leave some water on there. I wouldn't even need to dab off. And the first thing first, I'll go in with Bioessence Squalane and Copper Peptide Rapid Plumping Serum. So that's the first thing. Now I know my face isn't wet now because it was, but I've been here for a long time. But the reason I do that is my first layer of hyaluronic acid really attracts to water. So I want to trap in as much water on my skin as possible. So my first layer would always be hyaluronic acid. But then I need to go on and really start getting more moisture and some plumping into my skin. So I'm going to go with my Instant Effects Neck and Chest Serum. Now I sleep on my side, which means this area here goes crunch like this together. And I can really see it on other people, because what a lot of people do is that they moisturize their skin on their face, maybe up into their neck, but never their chest. As you get older, I'm noticing so many fine lines develop on people. Obviously, I don't say anything to them, but I really notice that they're also not putting any SPF on the area. So this area seems massively, massively neglected. So I always want to make sure I've got my neck and chest rejuvenating serum, and I try and go nice up. Let's put a little bit more on, all the merrier. I try and go on nice upward strokes to really try and lift that skin and pull up to the top. And again, really working on that chest area. I actually don't always do that just in the morning. I also do it in the afternoon, evening as well, but anytime after a shower. Anyway, that's my first step. Next one is my Instant Effects AM Energizer Supercharged Radiance Day Cream. Now, I have thirsty skin. I like to feel like I've got products on it, but what I don't want is to over oil my skin. So I put a small amount and I just press that in. Now, the great thing about this cream is it does absorb really quickly. So I can go on with my makeup quite quickly afterwards, but I do like a little bit of slippage. So I want to make sure it's just been pressed on and not completely rubbed away. But we all know there is no point doing any of that unless you put an SPF 50 on every day. So my SPF 50 at the moment is my La Roche-Posay and Thelios. It has been for years. I always use this one. It's very, very thin and it blends in very quickly. Now, my slight mistake I made the other day was buying a tinted version. Not the ends of the world, but I probably won't be buying the tinted one again, only because I can't put it on with my hands like I would normally do and just rub it in everywhere. I have to put it on with a beauty blender because I don't want all of that tint all over my hands and then I go and touch something white or my bedding or whatever. So I'm just going to pop that all over my skin. And to be honest, the tint is really, really natural. So it's not that I wouldn't like it, use it again because I don't like it. It's just because I don't really think it gives me enough of a coverage. So I'd rather just go on with the normal sun cream, use my hands, and then carry on with the rest of my beauty stages. So anyway, there we go. That's me popping that Anthelios all over my face. My beauty blender is damp. I do find that helps hydrate the skin and helps move my product around even more. Now we are going into eyes. I'm going to use my Instant Effects Instant Eye Lift. A lovely, fine, gel-like texture. Can you see that? Not cloggy, not overly thick. The products that you use around your eye area must be fine products. They must absolutely be an eye cream. I don't want to see any oils or thick creams going up around your eyes, purely because the skin around your eyes is super, super fine and absorbs much quicker than the skin around your face. Do you ever see people have those sort of like little bumps? You know, it's not milia, but you can get little fat deposits. That is normally because of build-up of products that have been going underneath the skin because they're not using fine enough layers. So let me just pop that, and I take a little bit, anything that's left on the back of my hand, just in that crease between my brows, because I get terrible lines in there. And that absorbs really quickly. It feels really cooling and lovely to put on. It's one of my favourite products from Instant Effects. And my lips, while I'm going to get ready, I'm going to put on my Instant Effects 3D lip plumping treatment. So that's 4 products from Instant Effects in my makeup, in my skincare routine in the morning. So let's get this on. Now this is just going to moisturise and just go into my lips and hopefully just sit there while I do all the rest of my makeup. Let's plump up a little bit more of this. There we go. Can you see that? I'm sure, I don't know if I'm close enough in this because in my screen I'm very, very small. So I'm just going to pat that in and let it plump away while I'm doing the rest of my makeup. So hopefully, as you can see, I've got a lovely glow on my skin. It's just enough. It's not oily. It's not over the done. It's just going to give me a nice little bit of slip to put my makeup on, but not look too heavy or not look greasy for the rest of the day. So let's go into makeup for my morning routine. Now, day to day, I change a little bit. My sun is setting as well, so I'm hoping my light isn't going to change too much. Sometimes I wear foundation, sometimes I don't. I don't know whether I'm kidding myself, but I'm looking into all I can see now is my camera lens. And let me look into my mirror. I feel like I maybe don't need a full face of foundation. And there's quite often I look at people and I think they don't need a full face of foundation either. I feel like, yes, we also have some blemishes or some, redness or spots or anything we need to cover with concealer. But quite often I'm watching people put on a really heavy base of foundation and not letting the good bits of their skin glow. I know on TV it might be different, for a shoot it might be different, but especially as you get older and you're going into your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, your skin just doesn't need as much coverage. I appreciate when you're young or you're having children or hormonal or whatever's happening, you might get difficult times with skin and acne. But I always say if you can leave a little bit out, leave a little bit out. So I'm just going to go in with my Flawless Filter, this by Charlotte Tilbury. Absolutely love this product. It is the most beautiful, glowing. It is a highlighter, but it's not as shiny and robot-like as some highlighters you see. It's incredibly glowy and moisturizing, and I'm just very careful with the areas I take it. So I use my beauty blender. By the way, a little note about beauty blenders. I only ever use these on myself. It's very, very rare. In fact, it's never that I would use them on a client. I just feel like they're quite expensive considering I would want to use a new one pretty much every time. I don't feel like you can clean them really, really well or clean them well enough to want to use them again and again on clients or on different, on separate people. I don't know. I know some people love them. I just feel like brushes are the one for me as a makeup artist. For myself, absolutely love them. I love that my hands don't get dirty, although I do think you can put your foundation on or your concealer on with your fingers. There's nothing wrong with that. But I do love the fact that my hands don't get dirty and I can just move it around and that's it done. So can you see that lovely glow I'm getting from that? I'm just keeping it on my upper cheekbone and a little bit down my nose. I don't really want any shine on my forehead. I don't want the shine to pick up any around here or emphasize any spots or lumps. I just want it on the high cheekbone area where it looks super dewy and glowy and pops out my cheekbones. But let's get into a little bit of coverage. So 2 things I'm going to do here. I've got my Bobbi Brown. Now this is a foundation stick. It can be used, for example, just to literally draw onto your skin, and then you'd either blend that in with the warmth of your fingers or you'd use a brush or beauty blender. Now I'm putting quite a lot on there, and I said I wasn't going to pair a foundation, but that's just because I want to show you what I'm doing. But it's actually a great tool for certain areas of coverage they need. So I'm going to use this little mirror so I can see a little bit more closely. Now, if I'm looking around my face, I can see that I have some broken, I guess they're like broken veins, broken capillaries on my skin. I've got another one there, and I'm just going to use that as a little bit of a spot concealer. Not actually covering a spot, but we say spot concealing when we want to conceal a certain area. And I've also got this brown patch of skin there. I guess it's a little bit of sun damage, I'm not sure, but I'm definitely really trying to pick up. Well, every day I wear my SPF 50, and I didn't do that for quite a few years, and I do regret that now. Under eye concealer, oh, this is a good tip. Anything that's liquid and has a brush on the end or has a spoolie goes on your under eyes. Anything that's a stick and isn't liquid or comes in a pot and isn't liquid is for your face. That's because the finer product, like this liquid here, is to go on a finer area. Exactly like I was saying about the Instant Eye Lift, the very fine eye cream from Instant Effects. Fine products should be used on the eyes. Thicker, denser products should be used on the face as a coverage. So this one is Liqueura Illuminating Concealer Pen. I'm going to again use my little mirror just so I can see exactly what I'm doing. Let me pump up a little bit. Again, this product, I wouldn't use that directly on someone's face. I would be pumping that out onto a little mixing board or the back of my hand and then using a brush to rub it in. Because this is my personal one, it gets to stay there. And I'm just going to use the warmth from my fingers just to pat that in. Concealer is always last in your application. I know a lot of people ask, should they do concealer first or foundation first? Or I appreciate I'm not actually popping any foundation on now, but concealer should always be last, because in theory, you're just checking. Oh, I've got hair in my eye. You're checking to see what areas actually do need coverage. Can you see the difference between my two eyes? I know I've got a little bit on there, but can you see it's already lifted so much already? So I'm just going to pat this down underneath my eye. And I'm not swiping, I'm not dragging away, I'm patting in exactly the same as what I did with my Instant Effects, Instant Eye Lift. I'm just going to say eye cream from now on because you know which one I'm using. I just want to push it into the eye, and I'm taking any excess over to my lid. I just want to take away some of the veins and some of the blueness of my lid. I feel that's lifted up things so lovely. And considering I haven't got any foundation on, I think that isn't too bad. My priority in life is always have the most beautiful, glowy skin, so other people look at me and don't feel like I look too powdery or that it's sinking into any lines. Talking about powder, however, I do need to set what I've done. So I'm going to pop on a little bit of Hawaiian Tropic Mineral Translucent Sun Protection Powder. Now, this is a bit of a debatable subject. I bought this powder because it's SPF 30, and I just thought, can you see it coming out there? It just comes straight out of the tube. Why not try and put an extra layer of SPF onto my skin? Again, this is my personal one. I would never use a product like this on clients. I keep going off my camera. It smells amazing as well. It smells like holidays. Well, it smells like Hawaiian Tropic. I wanted to give me an extra layer of SPF. In theory, to get a decent amount of coverage from an SPF powder, you would have to wear it about half an inch thick all over your face. It is just not going to give you any real kind of protection. But why not, if I'm using a powder and I want one that's easy to carry around with me and just to set my makeup, use one with SPF in. That's all I'm saying. I just don't think it's a bad thing. So what I've done with that, I've just set my under eyes, my lids, so I can put some eyeshadow on there and just a little bit around my nose. I have not taken powder onto my forehead, onto my cheekbones, anywhere that I want to keep it looking quite fresh, quite dewy, and not to be disrupting my flawless filter or any glow in any way, but I have set it in the areas I've wanted to set it. Let's go in with some actual makeup now and warm me up a bit. Now, I have got fake tan on. I wear, what is wrong? I wear fake tan pretty much every day. It's a Garnier Ombre Celeste spray that I just spray on my face. A very light mist. I don't rub it in. I don't touch it. I don't do anything with it. It dries instantly, goes on clear, gives me a bit of colour. That's all I wear. I find it just makes my Cornish white skin a little bit better. I'm going to go in with some Nars. Now, I'm never going to be able to pronounce this. Nars Key bronzer. And I'm just popping that up into my cheekbones with an angled brush. I've gone into the palette once, and I think that's probably enough. I just want to get a little bit more definition on my cheekbones. Now, I'm using a bronzer to kind of give me some contour. I don't really see the point of having a contour and a bronzer, but my bronzer is matte. Because if I was using a glittery bronzer or a shimmery bronzer, I wouldn't be able to put it into my contour like this because it would push out too much light. And what I want to do is create some kind of definition, like I've got more cheekbones than I have. So I always wear matte bronzers, and I always put matte bronzers on other people. I don't love it when people are rubbing bronzer all over their face and it's a shimmer bronzer and all it does is highlight lines, wrinkles, spots. It's just going, look at me, and that's not what I want to do. I'm also going to take a little bit of that onto my forehead, up into there. I just want my forehead to look a little bit smaller than it is. Don't mind my forehead, but it does seem to stretch on a long way. And then if I've got anything left, I tend to put it on the ends of my nose or just anywhere, maybe underneath that jaw a little bit, but there's really nothing left on the brush now. Okay, so that's that. But now I need a little bit of glow and a little bit of lift into my cheekbone, into my cheeks. So I'm going to go onto the apple of my cheek with my Victoria Beckham Cheeky Posh Cheek Balm in mini skirt. Now, I started doing a thing where I've started taking my blusher a little bit higher than I normally would. General rule of thumb, I'm always going to put blusher on the apples of the cheeks where you would naturally blush. Sometimes if I want a little bit more lift, and again, I'm going in with my fingers because this is a cream bronzer and I want the warmth from my fingers just to help melt that product in and blend away the edges. You wouldn't really be able to move it with a brush, especially not a floppy brush. You would need something that's quite stiff. So why not just use your fingers? I'm just going to grab my mirror here because it's really hard to see in that little screen. In fact, I probably have overpowdered a little bit because when you're putting a cream and blush on, you definitely want to put that cream blush onto quite a moist skin. If you put it onto a dry skin with a lot of powder already on it, it tends to clog and you can't move it as much. So that's why we want to hydrate so well with our, not with our neck and chest serum. I have so many bottles here. With our AM Energizer. Just any kind of way of making that skin really dewy and able to move things on. But that's and I'm taking that cheek, that blush a little bit higher. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to create a little bit more pull, a little bit more lift. So have a play with where you put your blush, because that does change things a lot. You can actually lift up a lot more. Okay, let's go into eyes. So very basic when I'm just getting out in the mornings. Obviously, this would be a lot quicker if I wasn't talking to you and talking you through the whole routine. But we're nearly at 20 minutes. I do appreciate that. I'm going to go in my Nars Key Largo Duo. Can you see that? It's like a lovely matte, creamy colour. And I've got a slight taupey bronze in there. I'm going to go with the cream matte colour all over my lids. This is what I do every day. I carry this little one around with me. It's a lovely, easy eyeshadow to use. And I pop that all over my lid. So you have two parts of your lids. You have the movable lid, which is the bit that blinks, that I'm blinking now. And then you've got your brow bone that doesn't move. I'm putting that all over my movable lid and onto my brow bone as well, just going back and forth just to give me a nice wash of colour. Then I'm going to go in with the other half, but this could be with any mid-tone, taupey, brown, whatever you want. In fact, you could just pop a little bit of your bronzer onto your brush and do the same. I use the same brush. I take a little bit of the darker colour onto the end. I'm just going to swipe that up into between my movable lid and my brow bone, so up right into that socket. And the reason I like to do that is because I want this area here, my movable lid, to look bigger than it is. So I'm trying to push that socket back and create a depth there, just to give me a little bit of definition. And maybe I'll take that underneath the lash line as well. That is pretty much all I'm going to do on my eyes in terms of eyeshadow, just because it's a beautiful evening. I want to look quite fresh, quite glowy. I don't want to go in with a lot of dark colour. But what I will not miss out is my liquid liner. I'm using Sensai Designing Liquid Liner in black. It's a can you see how sharp that nib is? I'll use my large forehead to show you how sharp and beautiful that nib is, and it's extremely wet, and the wetter the pen, the nib of your liquid liner, the easier it is to get on. Again, do not use these pens on other people, on clients, unless I've bought one specifically for them. I've got a lot of personal celebrities or talent, as we call them, that I will buy these for, and that will be theirs, and I'll label it and I'll use it on them, because sometimes they do glide so beautifully that I want to use one of these pens instead of a gel pot and a brush, which is the traditional way that we would do liner, just for what's the word, cleanliness, contamination. But anyway, this is my one, and I hope you can see more clearly than I can, but it just swipes on. I use my baby finger to rest and give me that steadiness against my cheek, and I look down into the mirror. If you're looking up into a mirror, your movable lid and your lashes are almost touching. Can you see they're touching my brow bone? If I just take my eyes down and look down into a mirror, can you see how much more space I've got when I'm looking down? Less chance of any marks touching my top lid. So I'm just going to go along, and I always do, and I think other people should pick up on this. Can you see as that's going along? I was doing like a dash. I was using the side of my pen. I'm going to come in a little bit closer and just do dashes all the way along until I reach my outer corner. I then flip my pen to the other side, other way, facing the other direction. So that point is going to create the flick for me. Can you see? I'm actually using the nib to join into the rest of the flick, the rest of the stripe along my lashes, to give me that lovely elongated effect. But I'm actually doing it all with the pen. I watch a lot, I'm just shaking it up to get some more. I watch a lot of people doing this. And one, they're not resting on their faces. Two, they're not looking down. And then three, they're trying to draw a perfect line with a very sharp tip. Just make life easier for yourself. Look down into it, balance against your face, and just use that nib to do the dash effect. So you're just almost like you're printing that line along your eyelashes. I hope you can see me. I find it absolutely awful that I can't see you or see if anyone at all is watching. Turning around the other way, coming in to meet my line, going back in again. I feel like this line has actually gone a little bit dry, which I'm a bit disappointed about. When I was using it the other day, to be fair, I had two hands, so I could actually pull on my, that helps as well if you pull out. It was going on beautifully, and it seems a lot drier now. So yes, when I normally do Instagram lives for people, I can see what's going on. So I'm really sorry I can't answer any questions or know anything, or if anyone is out there, like I promised on my Instagram. That's that done. I'm going to go in my eyebrows. I'm using my Eyebrow Queen Brow Pro number 6 in dark cool brown. I feel like the names of things get longer and longer as the years go by. Maybe my old brain is suffering more and more. Just going to roll up the nib. Again, I'm going to look down into a close little mirror. And I actually use this pen, or this nib, I shouldn't say a pen. You see it's a slight, it's like a little angled tip, to almost draw fake lines, fake hairs. Fake hairs. I started work very early this morning. I haven't had a day off for a long time, so bear with me. And I just fill in, that's all I do, is the fronts of my brows. I just feel that they stop a little bit short. I know none of you may have asked this question, but if you want to know where to start and end your brows and what brow shape you should be, hold on to your brow pencil, go from the corner of the nose, the corner of your eye. I could do with a mirror for this. And just line them up, and that's where your brow should start. Corner of your nose, corner of your eye, that's where your brow should end. So that's kind of a good guide for if you want to fill in brows, where to fill in to. Now I've curled my eyelashes. They are permed at the moment, but they were done 8 weeks ago. So half of my lashes sort of stand up like this and the other half go flat like this. So I've curled them with some Shiramura eyelash curlers before I came onto this live. And now I'm going to pop on a little bit of Lord & Berry Big Noir Curl, Lift and Define Mascara. Again, I'm looking down into a mirror. I find that means your lashes aren't touching your lid so much, and I wiggle the brush up through my lashes. And I sometimes just use the end if I've got, because they're very twisted and not brilliant at the moment because they're at the end of a perm. I have to sometimes use that tip to go in. I always use the tip on my bottom lashes just to touch them because I've got very fine bottom lashes and I don't need to go in and go like this. Just the tip run back and forth is all I need. And I'm going to go in with the top set as well. When my lashes are freshly permed, it is absolutely life-changing because curling them is great, but I have to curl them with a heated eyelash curler. So I take my Shimura eyelash curler, which is metal. I heat up with either a hairdryer or a lighter. Don't try this at home. And that's how I curl them. And then I use a very light mascara. If I use anything too heavy, they drop back down again. If it's misty, they drop. If it's raining, they drop. If someone glances at me with a bad look, they drop. My own eyelashes are very temperamental. Okay, so we've got liner, mascara, brows, eyeshadow, skin base done. Do I normally do anything else? Maybe I would go in my waterline with a bit of black coal up under here. That simply makes my eyelashes look longer by taking away that pink area of your waterline. But it doesn't actually darken. I'm not putting kohl on the bottom lid. It doesn't, bottom waterline doesn't close them up. It just makes my lashes look a little bit longer. And then I'm going to pop on some Lord & Berry Sweet Talk sheer lipstick on top of my lip pumping Instant Effects 3D lip pumping serum. What I will say about this lip pumping serum is don't be scared that it's a, do you know some of them are menthol and they tingle and sting and that's how you get your lips. They make your lips go bigger. I can't use those. My lips are so sensitive and dry and awful all the time. This doesn't do that. It doesn't give you that horrible shock. It doesn't feel cold. It doesn't tingle. It just works as a serum over time. So just a little thing not to be scared of. Okay, so that's my daily morning makeup. Now, I know that's been half an hour. It would not normally take that long if I wasn't talking to you. I'm going to leave you alone now because you're probably sick of the sound of my voice. I would love to answer any questions. If you do want to either ask through the Instant Effects team, they know way more about me than the products. I just love the products. Or ask me on my Instagram, or maybe we'll do some kind of other thing where you can talk to the team and me. I don't know. But yeah, that's it. I hope you can see the glow. I've got the sunset here. I've got my Hollywood lights there and a ring light here. I still hope it's bright enough. Okay, thank you for watching. Bye.